Perfect. And so I'll first start off, where were you born?
In a little town called Allendale, South Carolina.
Okay. And what was your childhood like there?
It was a country town, small town in South Carolina, and I grew up like other children, playing, dancing, clowning, enjoying life, never realizing what tomorrow will bring.
Yeah, everything you did in the moment.
Enjoying the very moment.
Yeah. And so that was what your childhood was like. What was your first job like when after your childhood? What was your first job like, or where did your career take you? Go into how you got to UGA as a professor, pretty much.
You asking me a question?
Yes. So after childhood, what was like your first career like? What was your first job that you remember?
Shoot, I grew up in South Carolina in a small town, and it was a farming town. And my first job was at a grocery store, sacking groceries for people and taking them out to their cars.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. And did you enjoy the job, or was it anything that any memories
No, I
from
didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it.
that? Yeah.
Slave mentality.
Uh,
White folk come in and spend their money, and the black folk carrying the cars. That was sure nothing like
yeah. I
that.
understand. But if it brought money, I know. I jobs, even the first jobs, I feel like are just like an adjustment. But and so also I was just wondering, and so then when did you leave South Carolina?
When did I leave South Carolina?
Yes.
Oh, shoot, I stayed there all my life till I got out of college.
Ah,
I went to college.
Tell her what age you went to college at.
I went to college
How old were you? Were you 17?
16 years old.
wow. So you went to college early.
Yeah,
And how long did it take you to graduate?
I graduated 4 years.
How old were you?
Well, I finished, 16 years old.
You graduated when you were 16 years old, or you went to college when you were 16?
I must have graduated at 16, 17, 19. I graduated at 20.
Wow. And what made you decide to go to college so early?
I'm smart, like you are.
Well, thank you. I don't think I was as smart to go to college at 16 though. I was.
But you were smart.
Thank you. And so where'd you go to college?
Claflin, Claflin, Claflin College in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Okay.
Where?
And what
I
were you
went,
studying?
that's where I did my undergraduate degree. Then I did a master's at Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow.
I did my doctorate at the University of Georgia.
Okay. And so what was your undergraduate and master's in?
I had a degree in music,
Okay.
music education.
And so were you
My
always,
master's, huh?
sorry, you can go on. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, that's what I did my master's in music. Yeah.
And when did you like first fall in love with music? Because I know poetry you have from the back of your head. Like how did that come to be?
Well, my mother used to sing to me a lot.
Mm.
We didn't have a piano, so she would hum tunes for me. Then when I started at school, I would hang around the teachers who could play a little bit. Even, I don't know.
What was the first instrument you played?
First instrument I played,
Yes.
well, in elementary school, it was Bible harp, you know.
And how many instruments do you know how to play? What all do you know how to play, Dr. L?
How old do I know how to play now?
Yes, you still know how to play, don't you?
Little David plays on his harp. I can play.
Tell her what instruments you played throughout your life.
I learned to play the trumpet, the clarinet, saxophone, flute. I learned the different musical instruments.
Piano.
I was never good at piano. I could play, but I was never good.
What was your favorite?
I was hung up on the sex business. That's why I didn't do well on piano. I thought that was for the girls. The other instruments for the boys. I learned better later on in life. That's a stereotype to be had. If you played the piano as a boy, you were a sissy. No stereotypes.
That stereotypes are
Huh?
stereotypes are dangerous.
Oh yeah. You're playing that girl's instrument. That's the piano. That's where the girls are played. Men play the big instrument, the heavy instrument, trombones and tubas and saxophones. Those girls have those nice little instruments like the clarinet. And you know.
But you still play the piano a little bit, even despite. Did you still play the piano despite it being a girl's instrument?
Yeah. I learned that because I had to learn that to learn other instruments, but you know, those are endangered stereotypes that people come up with.
Yeah. And what would you say is your favorite instrument of all the instruments you can play?
Trumpet.
Trumpet. You brought the trumpet to ACCA before and played for everyone, right? Is that correct?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Saxophone.
And the saxophone. What's one of your favorite songs to play?
You as pretty as a picture. I like that. So my fraternity hymn, but I don't. That's one of my favorite songs is there's a song in your heart. La da 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 da. You remember that?
I don't know.
There's a song. Da, 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 da.
What about Laura?
Huh?
What about your song, Laura?
Oh, and my friend, beautiful. Laura is a face in the misty light. That's one of my favorites.
Huh.
Footsteps you could hear down the hall. Is your name Laura?
No, my name is Rochelle, but I have the Beatles song that I sometimes like saying. It's like my name, the Michelle song.
You ever listen to Laura? You never heard it?
No, but I'll put that down to listen to it.
Laura, you gotta remember the words are so beautiful. Laura is a face in the misty light. See, footsteps you could hear down the halls. She gave her very first kiss to me, and it was Laura, and it goes on. But in the end, Laura is just a dream. She's just only a dream. It's a beautiful story about a beautiful woman, only a dream.
Did you have any Lauras in your personal life? that symbolize
In my
that
crystal
song?
ball. In my what?
In your personal life, do you have any Lauras that was just that in your person that
There's
symbolize
the
the
lady who
song?
was sitting here by me. She's Laura. You are Laura.
No.
I didn't know too many people named Laura, but I became interested in that name for that song.
Yeah.
See, it's pity how beautiful words can help you feel better about things and people.
Hmm. It's true.
See,
Yeah.
Laura was only a dream, but the man was crazy about Laura. You could hear Laura walking down the hall at night, but that's imagination.
Yeah.
Footprints. Anyway, he come to the back. The whole point was that Laura was nothing but a fantasy, a dream in his mind.
Mhm. Well, I guess I'll
And
go on to
you are my Laura.
my. Thank you.
How would
Well,
you like to be my Laura?
um, we'll
Yeah.
think of that. I'll think about it. We'll go on to the next question first, though. And do you remember any like national or international events affecting you in the past, such as
I don't know what
like
you're saying. I don't know what you're saying.
She
I
said,
remember what?
she explaining it to you.
are there any major national or like international events that you remember affecting you, such as the war or even 9/11 or recent attacks that have happened, or even just like happy events such as like the Olympics? Do any events do you remember growing up learning about or thinking about and how they affected you growing up?
Well, growing up to me, each day was a dream. So that's why Laura was important. Tomorrow is tomorrow, but tomorrow is going.
She's asking you like, is there like something that you will never forget that happened to you in your life? It's a life-changing event, something that you'll never forget that happened in the 90 years.
When my mother died.
We'll talk about it.
When my mother died, I'll never forget that. It was a beautiful lady. I have a picture in here. I'll never forget that. I came home from college one weekend. My mother was growing old and tired. After my daddy died, she never remarried. She looked for all for her children.
You got something to drink?
So she was a lovely lady.
Yeah. What type of mother was she?
She was a hard-working woman that took on every kind of man's job she had to take on. And she had children to feed. My sister and I, my brother had grown up older. He left home. But my sister and I were there, and my mother had a sick sister who was there with us all the time. It was a thanatopsis. It was out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. I think whatever God may be for my unconquerable soul. I learned it. I learned at a very early age because our soul was very unconquerable. My mother was there with us, always trying to find out another way to make it. She used to wash clothes and iron for $1.25 a week. A week. White folk would bring the clothes, blow the horn, we'd go outside and pick them up out the car. They wouldn't come in your house, all this shit. You'd take the clothes in the house, my mother would wash them and iron them, and then they'd come back and blow the horn. We have to carry the clothes back to the car. And my mother got about $1.25 a week, $1.50 a week.
I can't imagine.
You don't want me to tell you any more about that stuff, do you?
Oh, you can tell me what's one of
I
your
can see
favorite.
you almost cry, huh?
What's one of your favorite memories of her?
What is my favorite memory?
Yes, of of like one of your favorite memories in your life, or even of your mother?
What did she say the last?
What's one of your favorite memories in your life, or like what's your favorite memory about your mother?
I had a favorite memory about my mother because after my dad's death, she had to take over being a mother and a father.
Mhm.
And she took it with eloquence, she took it with pride. And I never heard her complain was that all these damn children causing me to go through all of this. Never complain. So my favorite memory in life was I had to grow up early. I pushed a slot wagon, and suddenly I went to bed one night and I was a member of the family. I woke up another morning and I was part of helping to make the family. But my dad was gone, died. And it was my mother.
Yeah.
She was a fountain of delight. She looked at us and she said, "We gotta keep her going." She, my dad's name was Lonnie, and she said, "This is what Lonnie would want for us to do, keep everything going." And even when I went to college, I didn't have any money, and my mother, I said, "Mama, how I'm going to stay?" She said, "Walter, just go on." They said, "You got a music scholarship, you go on, and somebody, they'll find a way." So everything was a way. And I remember that poem so much. For every man, there is a way and a highway and a low. And some men will take the highway and some men will take the whole low, and each man must decide the way his soul must go. And I wasn't a man, but I had to decide which way I was going. I was just a child, shit. 15, 14 the years old, deciding how I'm gonna make it.
That is a young age to figure out. And thank you so much for sharing that. I know it brings back memories, but also it's just how you got through life. And I guess moving forward, my next kind of, it might go along with this just because you had struggles growing up, and now with the virus that's happened in recent years, I'm going to kind of transition. And what was your first impression of the virus that's now taken over? Not taken over.
It was a slow down mechanism. It stopped a lot of people, but on the whole, you had to let it slow you down, but keep going. My thing of the virus was to keep it going. If you strike a thorn or rose, keep it going. If it hails or if it snows, keep it going. Tain't no use to sit in the wine if the fish ain't on your line. Bait your hook and keep it trying, but keep it going. The virus meant to be to keep it going in spite of the hardships.
Yeah. And for when you find yourself in setbacks or when you find yourself having setbacks or struggles, do you often think back to like poetry and how poetry can like resonate with you?
Do I often think about it?
Do you think of like, do you often go to poetry to help you like make terms of things or understand situations?
Yes, I do.
With life for me ain't no crystal stair.
Huh?
You always say life for me ain't no crystal stair.
It's been a life for me and no crystal stairway. Who was the poet that said that? Well, son, I'll tell you. Oh, I know it was Langston Hughes.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mother to son. The little boy was sitting down and he was just having a hard time. And he was ready to give up. And Langston Hughes said, the mother said to him, quote, yeah, that's a nice word, quote. Well, son, I'll tell you. Life for me ain't been no crystal stairway. It had tacks, nails, and old worn out boards. And sometimes, son, I was going in places where there ain't been no light. So don't you give up. Don't you sit there because you find it kind of hard sometimes. Don't you dare give up. Because life for me ain't been no crystal stairway.
I love that.
Mother to Son by Langston Hughes.
Yeah. And so you relate to that with life not being a crystal stairway, you just keep going through it.
It was always tough for me.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything. And then my mother said, son, we got to make it. And I wanted to say to her, oh, with what? They ain't got nothing to start with. Some kids got parents inherit this and inherit that. And all we had was a crystal stairway.
And did you turn to music in that time when it was really
I'm having a hard time understanding you. I'm sorry.
Did you turn to music during that time when it was like hard? Like, how did you get into music?
It was a quick way. It wasn't an easy way of making $1, but it was a way of self-contentment.
Mm.
It was making me feel good by having nothing. I could daydream. I could think about that poem, "The Night Has 1,000 Eyes," came to me through music. The night has 1,000 eyes, and the day but one. I said that before, hadn't I?
Mm-hmm. I love this poem.
But okay, I don't need to say the same thing over and over.
No, I do.
Huh?
She said she loves that poem.
Oh, life for me ain't. Oh, the night has 1,000 eyes. It's true. A night has 1,000 eyes. Looking around, trying to find something, but the day but one. Yet the light of the whole world dies with the dying sun, when it all fades away. The mind, the M-I-N-D, has 1,000 eyes, and the heart but one. Yet the light of the whole world dies when love is done. You ever been in love?
I've been in love with things.
Things?
Yes.
With a person?
I don't know if I can disclose.
Well, okay, maybe you're too young. But when that person becomes part of your heart, generates feelings and attitudes and helps you how you think and what you do. That's what I think women find in men when they get married to.
What does the 1,000 Nights poem? What does the 1,000 Nights poem mean to you?
What means it? What does what?
The 1,000 Nights poem that you just said. What does it mean to you?
What does it mean to me that a night has 1,000 eyes?
Yes.
There is no electricity at night. There are in darkness. There is more darkness to be confronted at night. So you gotta know where you're going and be able to feel where you're going. You gotta think about where you're going. Your attitude's gotta generate where you're going. Those are all your eyes. You see. You can see where you're going in the dark. The night has 1,000 eyes.
Yeah.
In the day, you don't need that. I don't need that light there. Hell, the sun is out.
Yeah.
I can see. But the minute I'm in darkness and I need light, that night, the mind searches for the way to see. But the heart, but one. I don't need the things I have at my disposal at night is not the very thing I need during the day.
Love that. Well, now going kind of back to what we were talking about before with the virus, have you had or did you have any low points during the whole virus and when it was at the height of the
Some things I
pandemic?
can't understand what you're saying. Say what now?
Did you have any low points during the virus when it was like at the height of everything happening? Were there any low points in your life that you found because of the pandemic or the virus?
I was thinking about that poem, "The Night Has 1,000 Eyes," and the David one. Poetry helps me through life, if that's appropriate to say.
Yeah.
It helps me find a way.
Yeah.
A way out of no ways. Okay, that's the way it is. My mother used to say that. We got to find a way out of no ways.
And if you could have if you had one lesson you wish to pass on to like future generations, what would that lesson be?
You got to generate feelings and love for other people, and it'll come back to you.
Yeah. How have you used that message in your own life?
That's the only thing that's kept me living. Yeah. I got to generate how other people felt. When I would listen to the old woman sitting down, telling me, "Don't give up, son. Keep it going. Don't give up." How you can don't give up because you find it kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Older people passing it on to us that you got to keep it going. It's hard. It's tough. Yeah. But on the other side of the branch, the other side of the river, the water is much brighter. Mm-hmm. But you got to wade through the scrimmage part of the water, shakiest part of the water. And somebody's saying to you, "Okay, son, don't give up." That's what my mother used to tell me when I was trying to go to school. And I said, "What the hell? We need all this education. I mean, I need to come on out here and work and try to help you." She said, "Oh, no. Don't give up yet. Work for me going to be a long time, but for you, you just keep it going." Yeah. She used to tell me about striking a thorn or a rose. I didn't even know what a thorn meant. You know, things that in your way of life, things that you can't see, but suddenly shows up in despair. A thorn of life, sticky, it's hard.
Yeah. And that I like how you use all these like messages, especially from
I like your expression. Big pardon.
I liked how you just like talk about this and how you use all these quotes to kind of take you through life. That's what life is, like words and the words through time. And I guess I kind of just want a little more information on your time at UGA in your doctorate program in teaching. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
I had no earthly idea I would ever have a doctorate degree. My life about that, it was rough, it was tough.
At UGA, was it hard getting your doctorate there?
Yes, indeed. You know.
Did you enjoy Did you enjoy your time at UGA?
Did I enjoy myself?
Yes, no. At UGA.
No. Not all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would, but most times I didn't.
Why was it?
The things I didn't know what to do. It was hard on me trying to do some things I didn't know what to do. I never had such rigid training before. You had to use the mind to think about things and the brain to generate new ideas and new ways. That's very difficult for a boy or a girl coming out of the ghetto to do.
in like in the educational environment?
I didn't know I was born in the ghetto. You know, as people think of the ghetto now, it's a good thing now that I think about it. The kind of ghetto I knew was a hard way of life.
Mm.
It was a poem that told me, not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. And the things that slumber in life is not what it seems. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime and departing ghetto leave behind us. What you gotta leave? Footprints on the sands of time. Kids coming along, they gotta be able to see your footprints. They might not be real prints, but they gotta know that there is something beyond today. Behind the dark clouds, the sun still shines.
More of the story: through the dark times, the sun always shines. There's always light in the darkness. It's always
Yeah, that's
gotta
okay.
keep it going.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah. And so one of my last questions is just kind of a logistical question, but how did you, so now you're at Athens Community Council on Aging. How did you hear about Athens Community Council on Aging, and do you enjoy your time there? Like being a participant?
I didn't hear about it. My parents heard about it. My friends heard about it. Somebody in my family heard about it. How much it meant to me?
Have you enjoyed it?
It was a fulfillment of the unknown.
Hmm.
But you know, I think God planned all those things for us. The unknown. What is the unknown today might be a salvation tomorrow. We learn how to find a way out of no way. The community council was a fulfillment of the unknown to me.
Hmm.
I never knew of a counselor of a community that was that caring of the unknown.
Yeah.
When you're caring, you share, you care, you love. I would enjoy seeing tomorrow come, because there would be new experiences, a new life.
Amen.
Yeah.
Dig out of the pit and suddenly you're in the middle of the grit, having a new life.
So are you excited for ACCA to go back in person soon, like hopefully in April? Like, do you look forward to that?
I'll remember April and be glad if it comes back. I said that in a song, in a song. I'll remember April. This lovely day shall lengthen into evening. We need it. We need it back. We need it back for the people who are in need of it.
Yeah.
Everybody's not in need of it, but many of us are.
Yeah. And that's for ACCA?
Beg pardon?
And that's what you're saying, not many people are in need of it, but some are. Is that what it pertains to ACCA?
Sure.
Or or something else?
Oh yeah.
And then, is there just anything else you wish to say or speak about that we didn't talk about, whether it pertains to your life, how you're coping with the virus, or anything else?
I'm coping. You have no choice. What are the alternatives of coping? Non-coping, you mean you hurt your survival.
Yeah.
Where you gotta go? She's telling me she gotta go.
I'll probably.
Baby, she's nice. She's talking. She's a lady who helps me.
Yeah. No, she's very nice. I talked to her earlier. And then so I guess, yeah, just coping and stuff. And lastly, were there any past memories from like your childhood that you use now when dealing with the virus?
Mother and son.
The Langston Hughes
Oh,
poem.
mother and son. I lose use that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stairway. My mother used to tell us that when we were enjoying the best of the times. My mother said, but the worst of the times will come too. And the best of the times is the worst of the times. The worst of the time is the best of the time. I tell you who it was. Who that wrote that? A Tale of Two Cities. Who wrote that?
Oh, I've
You
definitely,
remember?
yes, I've definitely heard about that.
The best of the time and the worst of the time.
Charles Dickens.
Dickens, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, sweetie. Right. Dickens. The worst of the times and the best of the times. It all comes. It all comes together.
Yeah. And do you remember what the first poem you remembered is? Like, do you remember what's the first poem that pops up in your head, or the first poem you learned about when you first got into poetry?
Woodman spare that tree. I forgot who wrote it. Touch not a single bough. In youth it sheltered me, and I'll protect it now. It was about a woodman who was fond of a tree.
Hmm.
That old familiar tree whose glory and renown are spread over land and sea. And would that he was down, there was a woodman that came along trying to cut a tree. That's what it was. And the lady didn't want her tree cut. And he said, but just why? And then she said, woodman, spare that tree. Touch not a single bough. In youth it sheltered me. And now I got a chance to protect that tree. I want to protect it now. That old familiar tree whose glory and renown are spread over land and sea, and would thy hew is down. Woodman, forbid thy act. Touch not a single bough. In youth that tree sheltered me, and I'll protect it now. All right.
That was good. I liked that. Well,
You're very good at what you do, and you make life worth, for people like me, worth discussing it.
well, I'm happy. I know discussing it brings empowerment, brings like meaning to it, and I love hearing your story. So thank you for sharing everything with me.
You're perfectly welcome.
Awesome. Well,
Any day.
yeah. And do you
Like the
have
song says, every day I got the blues. Oh, nobody loves me.
no,
Nobody, it's a song, a blues.
I don't know if I know that song. But can I ask Shantisa or Alan, or do you have pictures that you'd be willing to share from your time in college, or like teaching, or with music, or any poems that I can look up and share?
Well, I don't have any pictures right now on me, but I can look up a few for me.
Yeah, if you could look up some pictures and then send them to me, or have Shantisa send them to me, that would be great.
Okay.
And I can ask her also.
What is your name?
My name is Rochelle.
Rochelle. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Yes.
Rochelle. That's a beautiful name.
Thank you. But yeah, it was lovely talking to you today, Dr. Allen, and thank you so much again for doing this. And
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
send
you so much for your time and for thinking about those of us who are bewildered in many ways.
Yeah. And when I write, I'll send it over to you to see if you approve and if you like it. And then go from there.
Whatever you have and have whatever I can do, my approval is set phase before.
Perfect.
You
All
have my approval on anything you can do.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a lovely day, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.
There's a song. This lovely day shall lengthen into evening. We'll say farewell to all we've ever known. Do, 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 our hearts together.